I wanted to share today what I preached the other day to my church. So, I have my church, and in that church, there's this like community of people that go to the same school, my school. And, every week in school, we gather. And this week, I was the one who was invited to preach. And I just wanted to share that same message, what I shared with them, with you guys here today, because I think it's really important and I think it's very valuable. And I think it does apply to all of us. No, for before going into the word, just wanted to share like the background of why this message came to be. It was because I think the other week ago, me and a brother from church were talking, and he was opening up. He was getting really vulnerable. He was getting emotional, sharing his struggles and things like that. And I even saw, like tears going down his face. And the right thing to do, obviously, would have been, to love on him, to comfort him, to be there for him, to pray for him. But, me being me, I did the wrong thing. I basically Bible thumped him. That basically means I got scripture and slapped him in the face with it. And, I pushed him away, right? And it hurts, because that's something I shouldn't do. Out of all the people, I should be bringing people to the church, bringing them closer to God, but here I am pushing people away from God. And it was very heavy on me, but I realized that what I did was wrong. I realized it too late, you know. I already realized that after the matter. So, in that moment, I saw who I really was. I was reminded of who the real me is. As much as I want to appear as this amazing person, this amazing Christian who has everything right, who's doing everything right. In that moment, I saw myself and I said, no, I'm really not all that. As much as I want to be all that, I'm really not. And I like saw my path. I saw like if I continue doing this, I'd be a Pharisee, a hypocrite, you know? Instead of bringing people to the gospel, to Jesus, pushing them away. And that scared me. And it was a big reality check. But I really think that I needed to experience that because my heart recently has been getting so high. Like my friends, people in church, like they compliment me, they praise me a lot. And it gets to me, right? If that's all I hear, it really does get to me. So I just recently my heart, I feel just going up and up and up. And obviously that's not good. But this is why uh, this message today came about is because of that thing that I was really ashamed of. You know, um, I really didn't want to say that message, because I didn't want to look bad. But I realized for me and for you guys, for them, it's a message that it needs to be said, because for me at least, just because I think I can hide the dark sides of me, that gives me the false illusion to think that I'm good. I'm really not. I'm really not all that. So that's why we'll go into John chapter 5, the pool of Bethesda. John chapter 5, verses 1 to 9. So, verse 1. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool, and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in, was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man, when the water is troubled, to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Fire. Okay, so there's this pool, right? It's called Bethesda. And around the pool, there were all kinds of people who had sicknesses, whether it's blind, deformed people, paralyzed, whatever. And they would wait. They would all wait for when the water would move, right? And when that water moved, they would Usain Bolt and then Michael Phelps into the pool. When the water moved, they'd run and then they'd jump in the water. And whoever was in the water, right? Whoever got the gold medal would be healed of whatever sickness or disease that they had. But there was this man, a man with the infirmity, the paralyzed man. For 38 years of his life, his whole life, he is paralyzed. And this man, this story hits deep when we realize that this paralyzed man is just like us. This man is paralyzed physically, but deep down, he's paralyzed spiritually. He's paralyzed in his heart. And in the same way, we might not be physically paralyzed, but maybe emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and in our hearts, we're paralyzed. And if we saw, a paralyzed man in the street, we would be so fast to shun him away. Oh, get away from me. But, this dirty man in his, filth, right? Who saw him? When everybody pushed him away, when everybody neglected him, who saw him? Jesus saw him. And in our filth, who sees us? Jesus. Wow, amazing, right? Jesus asked him, Will you be made whole? Will you be made whole? And the paralyzed man, he didn't question him. He didn't say, Oh, who you? Take a look at this guy. No, he didn't say that. What did he lead with? He said, Sir, I have no man to help me go in the water. Every time I go, somebody already steps before me. What did he lead with? He led with his red flags. And that is why I led in this episode with my red flags. As much as I don't want to, this man is better than me. He led with his red flags. And this man's heart was so beautiful, because his heart was, I am nothing. Even if I tried to, I cannot do anything. Imagine this man, imagine his frustration, imagine seeing everyone around you be blessed, right? Imagine being there for years and years and years, seeing people get healed. And imagine he couldn't help but say, when is it my turn? God, you're blessing this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. When is it my turn? Why, God? Why? And then after that frustration is this sorrow, I am nothing. I cannot do anything. But when he had that heart, God said, good. God must have been good job. Because then he was ready. Because what was the next thing that Jesus told him? Jesus then told him, Rise, take up your bed and walk. But isn't it weird how it says, Rise, take up your bed and walk? Why couldn't it just have been, Rise, walk, forget about your bed? He said, Rise, take up your bed and walk. This man, he has been paralyzed his whole life. He couldn't go anywhere. He probably had to crawl, and even that was hard for him. This man couldn't go to the showers, couldn't go to the bathroom, couldn't go to the washroom, couldn't do anything. Just stayed there stuck. Meaning, in his bed was his pee, his poo, his sweat, his dirt. He probably had head lice. He probably had the bed mites, the bed bugs, everything. This guy literally had aura, green aura. Ugh, you know, stinky. But Jesus was there, right? How beautiful is that? And when Jesus said, in verse 9, right? Verse 9, and immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked. Notice how it says, immediately the man was made whole, meaning perfection, sanctification is not a process. How? Let's go. Hebrews 10:14. Hebrews 10:14 says, for by one offering he hath perfected forever them that are sanctified. For by one offering, Jesus, who died for our sins, sacrificed himself, has perfected forever them that are sanctified. Notice all the tenses in that verse. Perfected, sanctified, past tense, already done. God has made us perfect, righteous, holy because of Jesus, died for all of us. When I see myself, I am no perfect man, far from it. When you see yourself, I'm sure you don't see a perfect person, far from it. But God says, oops, but God says, you are perfect, righteous, and holy. Wow, amazing. How beautiful. This is the main message. Made whole. Take up your bed and walk. God has perfected us, but we must carry our bed. We must remember who we are. We must remember our dirt, our evil. And when I Bible thumped that brother, I completely forgot who I was. I Bible thumped him. I thought I was better than him. I thought I was all that. I thought I was this mighty Christian. Oh, but I'm not. I forgot who I was. I forgot my bed. And what happened? I fell. But as this man, his heart, so beautiful. I am nothing. I must remember my bed. That I am garbage. Take God away from me. I am garbage. I'm a piece of, fill in the blank. I'm a piece of. I'm a piece of. Let's go to verse 4. Verse 4, for an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of water, stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. Notice how you won't find this verse in all the other versions. Not in ESV, NIV, NLT, It's only in KJV because the devil don't want you to know his plan. An angel went down at a certain season and troubled the water. Isn't it weird that an angel is the one that troubled the water? Don't angels just glorify God? Don't angels just point to Jesus? Wouldn't the angel just say, oh, Jesus is there, just go to him? But wasn't Satan an angel? A fallen angel. And what does he do? What is he doing? He's cultivating works. Because when those people jump into the pool, they have to do it. This heart of, I have to do it. I have to heal myself. I have to overcome. I. That's the plan of the enemy. The enemy wants to shift our focus away from Jesus towards ourselves. And there's this saying, the devil doesn't have to drag you to hell. He just has to distract you from heaven, distract you from Jesus. And when he does that, we're cooked. Cooked. You know, Bethesda, the word Bethesda in Hebrew, it means the house of grace. Who received the grace? Who needed the grace? The paralyzed man, the weak person, the evil person, the dirty person. The people who were able to jump in the pool, they didn't need grace. They didn't need Jesus. They had their own strength. They had their own power. But this paralyzed man, weak person, he was the one who needed Jesus. You know, an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life. It's all about being strong, right? Getting faster, stronger, winning the game, showing out. And deep down, when I'm playing, when I'm with my teammates, I'm this humble person. But deep down, I love being able to say, I did that. I cooked him. I won the game. Number one MVP. Honestly, I love that. The type of thing where it's, clutch time. Now, don't pray, just give me the ball. I got it. And then I cooked. That type of thing. And sometimes it makes me ashamed to say that I'm a Christian. Why? Not because of the persecution, but because saying that you're a Christian means that you need God, that you rely on God. And I don't like the feeling that I need to rely on something, that I need someone. Because deep down, I want to be strong. But also deep down, I'm weak, just like this man. But just like this man, we have Jesus in our lives. And as it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, when I am weak, then I am strong. God's grace is sufficient. His strength is made perfect in weakness. I will take glory in my weaknesses, in my infirmities, because when I am weak, then I am strong. Wow. Wow. Because at the end of the day, when we forget who we are, we start to trust ourselves. When we trust ourselves, we distrust God. And when we distrust God and trust ourselves, who becomes God? We become God. We become our own God. But like a magnet, right? What ends attract? What ends repel? Sorry. The same symbols, right? Positive, positive, repel. Negative, negative, repel. God is this always positive, right? He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Always positive. But if we think we're strong, if we think we're good, that's a positive too. It can never, never meet. But if you have a positive and a negative, and I'm the negative, I'm nothing, I'm evil, I'm click, click. That's why it says, when we are weak, we are strong. The power, the strength, the courage doesn't flow from us. It flows through us. Just like a phone. If you use a phone, it's gonna end up dying. But where does the power come from? When you plug it into the socket, and then the electricity goes to the phone, and then you can use the phone. The same way, we cannot create this our own power. We only think we can. We're limited. But when we plug to the source, to God, then that power flows. Crazy. Crazy. And last week was such a hard week for me. Like, so heavy. Where do I even start? It was midterms. Me and my group mate for pre-thesis. Yeah, I'm hella old now, doing thesis work. But we're behind. We're late. We don't have a topic. We don't have an advisor. We're cooked, chat. On top of that, I couldn't go to Victory Campus Conference. And it's this big event that only takes place every so years, every other year. And it's all the victory. Every nation gathers from all over the world. And this year it was in Philippines. The last time it was in Philippines was around like 2010. And I missed it because I got sick. I missed it and I got sick. Oh my god. I was like frustrated, but I was sick. So I was like, oh, I can't even, you know. I couldn't do spiritual foundation, which is like this, like 10-week Bible study, right? For 3 hours each time. I couldn't do that. I couldn't go with Campus Con. Oh my gosh. What do you want me to do? Brother, what do you want me to do? And on top of that, my grandfather, he's, like fighting for his life in the hospital. And it's been around a month now. And today, yesterday, he flatlined. Oh my gosh, bro. They were able to revive him, but he's fighting, man. Last week was so heavy. It was like suffocating. I was tired, everything. And I wanted to go back to my old self. To be honest with y'all, I used to have porn addiction. And I've been clean now for almost 2 years. But last week, I wanted to go back. I basically, was gonna cheat on Sophia. Oh my gosh. How disgusting, bro. But like an onion, we can always peel back the layers. Like what Donkey said in Shrek. Like an onion, it has layers. So the first layer, I want to go lust, go on these websites, do all these things. Then peel back the layer. It's not really the lust that I'm after. It's the comfort, the escape that I find from it. Peel back another layer. Man, this is who I really am. I'm so evil. I just want love, and I'm running to these things because I think it's what love is. It's what intimacy is. Peel back the layers. I'm broken. Brother, I'm broken. I love the things I shouldn't love, and I run to the things I shouldn't run to. I'm so broken. That's so hard to say. I'm literally putting it out there, telling people that I'm broken, that I don't have it all together. But that's the real. That's the real. I'm broken. But then it made me think, wow, that's why I need God. That's why I have God. It's because I'm so broken. I cannot run away from God because I literally need Him. And when we think of, this broken world, broken people, we think of the Epsteins, the Hitlers, the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world, right? And then I thought, given the same situation as them, given the same circumstances, I too would do the same things as them. No doubt. I know I'm capable. Why? Because of Jeremiah 17 verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things Desperately wicked. Who can know it? There's three parts there. The heart is deceitful above all things. The heart is the number one liar. Desperately wicked. Down bad, evil. Who can know it? Nobody knows it. I am just as bad as them. And I haven't done the things that they've done, but if given the chance, same circumstances, I would. I know I'm capable, because the Bible says. We've all lusted. We've all murdered. Huh? Yeah, the Bible says. Even if we look at a woman lustfully, we've already committed lust in our hearts. When we get super angry at someone, we've killed them in our hearts. Damn. Because at the end of the day, who is the real me? The real me, I'm not this kind, caring, loving person. No. I'm a super selfish person. I'm a liar. I lie every day, I lie all the time. Small things, big things. I'm the super lustful person. I'm a cheater. I've cheated on a girl before. I'm so evil. I'm so evil, bro. But then, when it came down to it last week, I thought to myself, Raf, are you gonna trust yourself? Or are you gonna trust the word? Think back, Raf, when you trusted yourself, when you led your life, when you were the captain of your life, what happened? You followed your desires. And because you did, you were empty. There was this big hole in your heart. And then what? You fell into depression. You thought your whole life depression was a joke. You thought you could never get depressed. But what happened? You got depressed. And then what? You were gonna take your life. You were gonna unalive. You're gonna trust that, Raf? Really? You're gonna trust that person? Raf, would you ever trust a thief, a liar, a lustful person, a murderer, a cheater? Of course not. Nobody would, right? So, Raf, why do you trust yourself? Because deep down you are those things. Why? Because of Jeremiah 17, verse 9. Wow. I'm speechless. Crazy, you know? It's always either we trust ourselves or we trust the word. If something always changes, is it reliable? Think about it. If something's always fluctuating, changing, is it reliable? Probably not. But if something stays the same all the time, is it reliable? Yes, you can rely on it. Our thoughts, our feelings, our situations always change. But why do we trust it? The Word of God stays the same. We can wake up today, maybe 10 years ago, 10 years from now. It's still the same. That's why it's the foundation. That's why I need it. I need it. I don't read the Bible because I'm better. Respectfully, who has time for KJV? Oh my, these thou arts. Oh my goodness. Nobody has time. But I need it. I need it or I'm going to fall again into myself. Fall again into my thoughts, into my feelings. I'll become my own God again. Then I'll follow my desires and become empty again, become depressed again. Take my own life. I need this word. This word is what sustains me. It's what renews my mind. And in Genesis chapter 2, right? God made us from dirt. If we're made in his image, why couldn't he make us from gold or diamond? Something amazing, right? But why was he so intentional about dirt? Because when you plant a seed in dirt, it grows. But when you plant a seed in diamond or gold, it doesn't grow. In the same way, when we trust ourselves, when we are our own God, that is a heart of diamond and gold. When we forget who we are, that is diamond and gold. And we cannot hear God. But when we have the heart of dirt, when we have the heart of the paralyzed man, that I am nothing, that I'm just an evil, dirty person and I can't do anything. That is a heart of dirt. And I had that heart when I was going to take my life. Before I was going to take my life, I realized, wow, I am nothing. I'm just garbage. I can't do anything. I've tried so many things, but nothing has worked. I can't. I'm nothing. But that is the heart of dirt. And when I heard the gospel, when the seed was planted, plants, a garden grew. But the hard thing is to remember who we are. The hard thing is to remember our bed, to remember our dirt, our filth. Because the enemy is going to make us forget. Satan, he wasn't evil. If anything, he was good. He was too good. He was so good that he wanted to be God. He wanted number one. So he's out here making us think about ourselves. He's out here puffing our hearts. Yeah, show him. Show him who you are. Just go follow yourself, Raph. The devil is not this, oh, I'm gonna get you. No. Nobody would listen to him if he was like that. The devil, he was the most beautiful angel. Meaning, I know you're tired. Just go follow your desires. It's okay. Oh, that person did you wrong. Show them who you are. It's okay. You deserve it. Master manipulator. Crazy, right? He's the deceiver, it says in the Bible. Deceiver. Think about the best manipulator out there. The devil is master of that. Crazy. So we must remember who we are. And I know this is a hard message to hear. And this applies for me too. It's a hard message to hear. But if you're on the other side of this, I hope you can see that I'm fighting for you. Not fighting you, that I'm fighting for you. Raph doesn't care about you, but the Jesus inside me cares about you, cares about your heart, because I genuinely want you to grow. We've all asked, wow, is this life? Is this it? Is this all what a believer's life is? No, there's more. We've just forgotten who we are. We're all connected by sin. We all understand the struggle. Each one of us, no matter how good we can hide it, we all understand. But even if we're connected by sin, we are binded because of Jesus. We are binded together because of what Jesus did on the cross. And my grandfather, right? He's in the hospital fighting for his life. And I had the realization, I envy him. What? What is this guy on? Yeah, I envy him. Not in a suicidal way, like before, but because I want to go home. Heaven is my home. I want to see Jesus. This world is so broken. I want to see heaven already. That's where we're going. Not because I'm good, because of what Jesus did. But there's a reason. There's a reason that God wakes me up every day. There's a reason why God wakes you up every day. It's because imagine how big He wants our family to be. Imagine how many people we can help get to heaven. Imagine how, can grow this family. You'll be sad if it's just a few people in heaven. Of course, not everyone will get to heaven. But imagine how big we can be, how big our family can be. Because in the end, it's not about showing you're right. It's not about proving yourself. It's not about winning arguments. It's about winning souls, winning hearts for the kingdom. Because that's what really matters. That's what matters. It's Jesus, man. This gospel is what saved me. God has worked in an evil person's life like mine. What makes you think He's not going to work in yours? He will. He will. But we're stopping ourselves. We're our own wall. Because we forgot who we are. We forgot where we came from. We forgot where we were stuck in. And this is the message today. It's that deep down, I'm evil. I'm broken. And that leads, acknowledging that, leads to a heart of I am nothing. Leads to a heart of dirt. Respectfully, I hope I get cancelled. Bro, please cancel me. Because I don't want God to use me. There's this one song, we sang in church. And it was like, God, I'm here. God, use me. And those are the hardest. I couldn't sing those lyrics. At first, being a Christian, it's like, yes, God, use me. But when God actually used me, oh my God. This is a lot. I don't want this, But at the end of the day, why do I preach? Why do I do this? Why am I putting myself out there? I'm a freaking introvert, dog. I don't want to be doing this. But why? It's because the Jesus inside me cares about people's souls, their hearts, their eternity. And if I can touch just one person's heart, just one, if I can get someone to have just one, amazing, amazing. And in the end, am I gonna trust myself? No, I'm sick of trusting myself. I still do. But when I think about where I came from, when I think about where I was before, I'm not gonna trust that. I don't want to trust that. So I only do this because God says so. In order to be good soil, we must first acknowledge that we are bad soil. In order to be good soil, we must acknowledge that we're bad soil. That's the word. I hope this message spoke to y'all. It definitely speaks to me a lot. And I need this reminder. We all do. Because I don't want to fall. I don't want to get corrupted. I don't want to be a Pharisee. You know how sad it is to see the Bible characters like King Saul, who was king, had everything, but then fell because of his pride, because he forgot who he was. How sad. In order to be good soil, we must acknowledge that we're bad soil. Jesus has perfected us. But we must remember our bed. We must remember the real us deep down. That's it. Peace out, fam. Peace.